I'm Dr. Qazi. I'm a skin restoration specialist in Newport Beach, California. I want to go through one of my cases today. It was very similar to this case, but it's something really interesting because there's a process for how I do lasers for scars, which is very, very different and unique compared to a lot of other places. And I'll walk you through just how I do lasers, because sometimes I don't talk as much about lasers and the way I'm so focused with certain spots with the laser, certain raised parts of the scars, for example. And I want you to really understand just how meticulous and how detailed sometimes it really has to take for us to improve scars. Really, the process is something that I pride myself on, because it really is a matter of just constantly looking at it under a certain kind of lighting, angled lighting, and really making sure that we're getting around the edges of the scar. Sometimes I also try to close the scar a little bit, close the diameter of the scar. But it's a really fun process because it's really rewarding. You could see in real time as you're smoothing down the surface of the scars, and then over time it just continues to get better and better. It's something that patients can notice really relatively quickly too. Over the next really just few weeks, they could essentially notice that their skin starts to feel a lot softer. They no longer have that kind of thickness around the edges of the scar. And when I do this, I basically do it in areas where there's excess scar tissue. You can see there's this area where the scar is indented, and then there's these areas where it's raised. And what I try to do is basically try to get as close to the base of the scar as possible. So what I do is I keep on smoothing it down until I get to that. But it really depends on patient skin types. Most of my patients are darker skin type, so we have to be really careful with skin of color. We have to make sure that as we're doing it, we're not overheating the skin and we're not destroying melanocytes. And there's a way to do that. And you could see this process right here is kind of like a taste of it. Today I was doing the laser on a patient. He actually flew in all the way from Australia, and he had done work twice actually with really prominent acne scar specialists, and he just found that he wasn't really getting enough result with them. When I did this, it was really rewarding because you could feel like really in real time that you're doing something that never was done before. Even if you did multiple passes with a fractional laser, CO2 laser, you still would never get this kind of result, this kind of improvement as you can with a laser with this like a small focal point, and really meticulously tracing that scar tissue and basically cutting down the scar with a laser. So in a way, this is a bit like dermabrasion, but I'm doing it with a laser. So you can think of it that way. Like this is really like mechanically breaking down the scar is what dermabrasion is, but in this case, we're using a laser to do that. So that's what I do a ton of, and that's what I pride myself on a lot of times is because there's a way to do this. It takes a long, long time sometimes for some patients, especially cases that are more severe scars, is like this patient that I had today, very, very thick scars. It could take a long time. Just imagine I'm just constantly changing the size of the tip of the laser beam. Sometimes it's 1 millimeter, sometimes 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and I just keep on tracing around the edges of the scar and just keep on smoothing down those bumps there. What is this called? This is a fully ablative CO2 laser right over here. So this is a fully ablative CO2 laser, and we're working on it right there. You is asking, can I join the live and show you my face? You could submit it at drqazi.com. So go there and you can see the forums over there, and you could actually do it that way. But if you're actually interested in a consultation, I'll be happy to help you with that as well. So go to my under resources and drqazi.com. You can actually see, I think it's in community. Actually, we have that there under free live assessment. You could actually submit photos there, and I've gone through that over here. So go through on drqazi.com. You could go through that way. And of course, I do a lot with consultations, virtual consultations as well. And I'll be happy to help you out with that as well. So feel free to submit your case, and we could do it through this format. But if you really want me to go in depth and kind of give you a really good breakdown of what I would do, then you could schedule a virtual consultation. And you can just do that just directly on my page also. Is there a before and after of this patient? This patient we did just a few weeks ago, so nothing just yet, but I could show you someone similar to this that we did. At least I gotta double check to see if this one we have. Let me see my files. I don't think I've updated my latest acne scar ones, but I'll show you something very similar. Let's see here. How much does this CO2 cost? Well, I don't do it just by CO2 laser by itself. I'm usually doing a combination of different treatments. And mostly what I'm doing with that is I'm doing this portion. And then, for example, my other patient today, I did Subcision for him. He had done multiple treatments before. He's like, nothing was like what he just went through with me. The amount of detail that I went through and the amount of precision that I used for his scars really was surprising for him. And there's a way to do this. There's a way to do this really, really focus energy. And even if it takes me, an hour and a half, 2 hours just on these individual scars like that, I'll do it, because if that's what needs to be done, that's what we have to do. And that's really the difference. I try to make sure that we can get this really optimized for patients in that way. Someone's asking for darker skin types. It wasn't done this way for this particular patient, but I'll show you somebody that I did excisions on. You can see, as well as TCA Cross and some laser and Subcision. Let me see. I was trying to find some of the other ones, but I couldn't pull it up. But let me see if I can find this one here. And I think this is a nice one for you to see just the overall process of multiple scars that required multiple different kinds of treatments. In this case, let me pull it up. Let's see if I can get this here. This is a nice case, actually. This case is somebody who is a darker skin type. He was a smoker up until I met him. Actually, I should say I got him to quit smoking because I knew that we really needed to maximize collagen response. And I do like to have it so that patients quit smoking really for several weeks before we do the treatment. And in this case, I do see a lot of times these kind of ice pick scars in smokers. This kind of volume loss a lot of times with smokers as well. This is a patient, African descent, very complex scars actually for this patient. And what we had to do for him is we had to do excisions, we had to do Subcision, and TCA Cross as well. And we also did some laser as well as Dilute Radiesse for him. So we did all that, and this was actually after 2 sessions for this patient, I believe. And I know we have to do more work. I haven't seen him in several years actually at this point, but hopefully I'll see him again, whenever he's ready. He definitely is somebody that suffered a little bit more because of his smoking history. He smoked a lot, and when you smoke, it destroys your collagen response. Someone is asking about, can volume return after you quit smoking? Not quite. No, you lose volume. You don't get that back unless we give you back volume. Sometimes if you gain weight, you could gain weight everywhere, but you may not gain it in the same spots that you wanted to. So that doesn't really quite help. The thing with smoking also is that it destroys a lot of your collagen, your skin. So that's what we end up seeing over here. You can see that there's a lot of destruction of his skin itself. Again, this is a patient. This is a Fitzpatrick 6 patient, so of African descent. And you can see very, very deep, thick ice pick scars, very, very deep scars. Really amazing improvement, and I hope one day I'll be able to help out with him some more. I will do a little bit more TCA Cross, probably a little bit more volume. You can see there's still some volume loss over there. It'll be nice if I could do something like Bellafill, for example, would work really well for him. That's going to be really valuable for him at some point. It'll be nice, but like I said, I haven't seen him in a few years. He's happy in life. He's doing okay, but it'll be nice if I do end up doing that, because I could definitely get better and better results there. What causes these scars? These are really with acne, and then, like I said, he's smoking. He's got a long-standing smoking history. A lot of this also depends on socioeconomics. A lot of it does matter about that. If you don't have access to somebody who's going to be able to give you the proper medications for your acne, you could suffer from serious scars like this. You could suffer serious consequences like this. And so sometimes it depends on, if a patient is able to afford going to dermatologists, and not only afford going to dermatologists, but then also afford the medications that dermatologists give. because if you are somebody who doesn't have the access to that, you could suffer serious consequences and scars like this. And it's really, really unfortunate that that's the case. It's a lot of times things are segregated. Even skin is, I think we're aware that teeth are segregated by socioeconomic factors. At least I hope you guys are aware about that. People with good teeth tend to be in higher socioeconomic level than people with a poor teeth. And that's because of just really, they may not have access to dental care. And, even if you go to a dentist with insurance, it can get really expensive. Like almost every time I go to a dentist, they're telling me that I have to do, deep cleaning and things like that. And it's like never covered by insurance. Even I have great insurance for it. And it's like, that particular cleaning isn't covered by insurance. And so, if somebody can't afford that, that could really affect their teeth. So now imagine the same type of consequences for skin. So patients tell me over and over again that they, had acne, and a lot of times they wanted to do something, but they couldn't afford it. They couldn't take the time to go to they're 15, 16 years old, and they couldn't do it. And maybe, they didn't have the right insurance to do it, to be able to see dermatologists. Dermatologists a lot of times don't take Medi-Cal, for example, or certain other insurances that don't reimburse as well. And if that's your insurance, you're kind of in trouble now. You really have poor access now to that. So I think pay attention to that sort of thing too. And then, people may be able to get to a higher economic status later on in the future, but now they have serious scars for a long time, decades before, we can manage it. And it takes a lot more work now to fix that. So it'll be really amazing, really, really impressive if we could actually avoid that by managing patients from the beginning, to make sure that they don't suffer from scars, to make sure they don't have those consequences there. What's my favorite part of the acne scar treatment? So things I like to do Subcision. It's a really pretty rewarding for me just to go in there and actually break up the scar tissue really manually, and do those things. I love TCA Cross. I like doing that actually as well. Just going in and really just painting each individual scar is really fun for me. And actually, today's case, when I was doing the laser, a ton of the laser, just smoothing down each of those edges of the laser, that was actually really fun too. So, it sort of depends on what kind of scars, but each patient, each type of scar is different too. So I like all of those things. I also really like facial balancing. So I like doing all of those things too. I like doing things where collagen stimulating products, all that. So I really do that. Are you doing a sale on your consultations? No, consultations aren't on sale. And just FYI, I believe our consultation price is going up next year. I think the team is going to be doing that. So our board is going to be doing that. So just pay attention to that. It's not anything crazy, but it is going to go up. So this is the time probably to book that before the end of the year, just so you know. But consultations are always there's a fee for consultations, but it does go towards go towards your treatment. So just so you're aware. User 74 appreciates you. They're saying it's worth the price. Yeah, the amount of work that's involved with things and all this, I'm really happy. I'm able to stand by the work over and over, which is really, really rewarding for me. Can PRP and microneedling boost collagen? A little bit. Definitely not going to help for these kind of scars though. These are really deep, thick ice pick scars. Not going to help so much for that. We needed things like TCA Cross. We needed excisions for these scars. We needed subcision for that. That's the thing that ultimately needed to happen for these. Other treatments aren't going to really help too much for that. Today we showed another result. I will show you that again. For those that missed it, we showcased it on our page. You can see this as well. I will kind of go through this again because this is nice. This is an Asian patient who, she suffered from acne as well as oily skin. We had to work on that with the Accure laser because I am a big believer in normalizing your oil production before we do scar treatments. That's one of the big reasons why we're able to get such excellent results over and over again, because we try to make sure that oil production is under control. I know that there's a lot of people that find that they don't have as much acne as they used to, and that's understandable. Of course, I'm sure at one point it was really, really terrible cystic acne. But the thing is that if you still have acne, even little bits around the jawline, for example, even in areas that you aren't too worried about, you're still going to actually potentially scar in those areas, and your body's not going to produce as much collagen. And plus, having oil production is just an inflammatory process, and then what ends up happening is that you don't develop as much collagen because of that as well. So it's really important, really critical to manage your acne, manage your oil production before we tackle your scars. And in this case, we did that with the Accure laser. It worked incredibly well with that. And you can see a significant improvement for this patient for her scars. She mostly had tiny little ice pick scars as well as boxcar scars. And we're almost there. We're going to be doing a little bit more TCA Cross and a little laser. And some of those more superficial ones that are just left over there, those are going to be knocked out then by that session, I think. She has a very robust collagen response. Girlie's asking, what works better with smoothing light texture, peels, microneedling, or the combination of both? Laser is honestly one of the best options. So just, you could just do a light laser if you want to, like a low energy erbium laser works really well. But I haven't found anything else that comes just as close to that. Shira is saying they just scheduled a consult. Appreciate you, Shira. I'm sure you guys know you just go to drqazi.com. You can schedule a consultation directly that way, and hopefully that'll help you out. And remember, hopefully you guys book it, even if I know we're completely booked right now, but whenever the next availability is. But book it before the end of this year. It is going to go up though, just so you're aware about that. Have you dealt with mole removal before? So it depends on the location, what it looks like. Usually I want to make sure that it's safe for me to remove. If it is safe for me to remove, of course I can remove it then. Let's see here. How do you get rid of fungal acne? Easiest thing to do is just with ketoconazole shampoo. That's one of the easiest ways to do it. Just do that for about 2 weeks. That should end up working actually pretty well for you. So just consider doing that actually. Yellow saying, hi, Dr. Qazi, 2 months out and patiently waiting for results. Is there anything I could do to speed it? 2 months is pretty soon for the kind of scars that you had, which really are deep. You require more collagen production, and really just using that pigmentation cream is one of the biggest aspects of what you should do. Of course, making sure no sun exposure, no smoking. Those are the big factors. I believe, Yellow, you were a smoker before we went into this, so you do have a bit of a delay of collagen response from that. And part of this is going to be just sort of recovering from that collagen response, that was suppressed for a while due to the smoking. So there's that element, that's sort of just 2 months is not really when collagen kicks in. You can see for this patient, she did it in May, and now at this month in November is when we started to see more of these results. I actually just saw her about a month and a half ago or so, and there was still some scarring that was visible, and now it's even softer now at this point. So it's like a slow process, and you don't see it day by day, to be honest with you. It really is a lot slower than people think. Glossy Alia saying, I got my mole removed last year. She scraped it off. It had a scab for a month, but it never went away. So you could use a laser for that. Sometimes you use a laser for that, but it depends on the depth of the scar and how thick it is. I'll have to take a look and see if it's something I could be able to take care of though for you. Shira is saying, I am not able to put on medication though, and I still have a couple of pimples during my menstrual period. Well, you do want to make sure that's under control, but I can help you out with that too. There's multiple different options to manage acne before you do the scar treatment. So there's the Accure option, which is one way with the laser. You could do oral medications like oral spironolactone, for example, or topical antibiotics. All those are good options there. User 62 is saying Subcision or laser first. I do it together. I just do it all at the same time usually. The first session I do it together. So it doesn't make too much of an issue. She was saying, I don't live in California. Most of our patients don't live in California, actually. Most of our patients don't live in California. A lot of our patients live in NorCal, and we were still able to get excellent results with them. So you don't actually have to live in California. It depends on the types of scars and how many visits we're going to have to do with things, how much volume loss there is. But most people do not live in California. So, we're able to manage this remotely. We're able to help out patients. Actually, the patient today came in from Australia. He's flying out tomorrow. So it's like I'm going to manage him just remotely, just to make sure his skin is healing okay, and it's going to be totally fine. I do it all the time. It's like from patients from all over the world, and I have no problem with managing that. So it's no problem. Let's see here. can Subcision and CO2 laser be done in the same session? Yeah, it basically, what I did is I do is the focal point of the CO2 laser, and then what I end up doing is I do the Subcision then after that. And of course, I also do for ice pick scars, TCA Cross, and even for like some of the back scars, I'll do that as well. What treatment is this photo? This was with a few things. We controlled the patient's oil production with a Accure laser, and then we did TCA Cross. We also did we did laser. I did CO2 laser, the thick parts of the scar. I did a fractionated erbium laser as well. And then we also did some Bellafill for this patient as well. And we have to do a few rounds of TCA Cross for her. I believe it's like 4 times that we did TCA Cross, if I remember correctly. Actually, I think this, the time that she took for this photo, so after we did this photo is then when we did some of the TCA Cross for her. So, you know, it's definitely doable. It's just a matter sometimes of what your collagen response is. You know, this patient, she's East Asian. Sometimes I find that East Asians do have a faster collagen response than other ethnicities. And we did control her oil, which is a huge thing too. She did have a lot of oil production. So managing her oil helped out a ton for her. And then you can also see that, you know, as we were chipping away at things, we also been helping with her volume loss. So you did have actually with, you know, a lot of volume loss. So we ended up doing, in her case, some Bellafill. Can I show one of my more severe cases? I have to find some more cases on here. I have to start loading some more on here on my computer. But let's see. I'll try to put one up that was actually a really good one. Let's see here. And this is actually a really nice one because I see her regularly, and she comes in for Botox and sometimes a little bit of filler. This is an amazing case, actually. This is a very, very good case. This was mostly because of significant tethering of the scars as well as volume loss. Of course, we had to do a laser, but it was a lot of you know, I remember when I broke up her scar tissue, it was just like very, very stuck deep scars and you know, significant improvement for her. So it's a matter sometimes of like how thick the scars are, because if you don't do proper subcision, you're never going to be able to revolumize the face. And we ended up doing that for this patient. It did take several sessions of revolumizing. You know, I did do dilute Radiesse because I found it's not really evident in this photo, but she actually had a lot of laxity, like her skin was very, very loose, and I wanted it to be tighter. So I did dilute Radiesse for her. I also did Bellafill for this patient. And of course, we did TCA Cross as well. This is multiple years, though. This was, I have to take a look and see. I actually saw her recently, though, probably like, she usually comes around this time of year, like once a year or so to get a little bit of Botox or so. Yeah, you know, so I end up seeing her just kind of like the progress, and you see it's really stable, it's really nice, and it's still holding really, really well. It's beautiful, actually. And, you know, on top of it, she worked on just her pigmentation too. She wanted to get her skin tone a lot more even, and we ended up doing that as well. Botox just for fun. She just does Botox just for help for her wrinkles. She actually, you know, just does that regularly just for maintenance. And some people do it, you know, on the dot every 3.5 months. And some patients, like around this time of year, I see a lot of my patients that I sometimes just only see once a year because I do it for the holiday time. They do Botox, you know, I do Dysport or Botox like around this time all day long. And like, it's just because this is my time to kind of catch up from patients that I haven't seen in a while. And you know, they sort of save up. Of course, you're supposed to do it regularly, but it's also could be expensive for patients. And so they do it like kind of sometimes as like a treat right before the holiday time to make sure that they have less fine lines and wrinkles for the holiday time. So I see a lot of patients at this time. Also, you know, sometimes for like little bits of like the nasolabial fold filler or like some other issue they may want to do. Let's see here where we are. I saw a bunch of questions here. Do you offer Morpheus 8? Yes, we do. I just did Morpheus 8 for a patient that I just worked on the neck actually for face tight earlier. And now we ended up doing that for skin tightening, which helped out a lot. Otrubber is saying, hi doctor, I was treated by you 4 months ago and oh my goodness, I am beyond satisfied with my skin. Huge improvement. Thank you. Well, appreciate you. I hope I could find out your name though. If you could actually just send it over to us, because it'll be really nice if we could show your results. Really nice. I don't know, did you let us share your results at some point? and have we had a follow-up? I don't mean to bother you about it, but it's like, it's really nice to kind of showcase. And we could always like, just only show the scarred areas if you want, if you don't feel super comfortable with that. Although like showing the full face is really nice for people, and then especially people could kind of understand who this person is and see it's a real person and things like that. And it's nice because you could see them in the office too, things like that. And but it'd be really nice if you could show it to us, let us share your results at some point. And hi, Alan, how's it going? Alan's coming in a couple weeks. We're going to be doing another phase for Alan. We did his lasers about back in February or so, and now we're going to end up doing we did a little bit of Bellafill back in July then, and now we're going to do more of laser when he comes in a couple weeks, and we'll see his newer result. I think his newer result is going to be better, and then he's going to, of course, get even a better result after we work on it some more. So it's going to be really nice. And Law of Trends is saying, LOL, sorry for sending the same message multiple times. Doctor here told me laser is not safe during is it pregnancy or breastfeeding? I can't tell what that emoji is. It's a little bit too small for me to squint and see that there. Do you do online consultations? Yeah, a ton of online consultations. Most of our patients from out of state, so we do a ton of online consultations. So feel free to basically go through our page, drqazi.com, and you can schedule an online consultation that way. We'll be happy to help you out with it. Just send some photos over, and I will break it down for you to see how we could do it safely for you. How many treatments did the lady do in the above? I have to double check. I know it was several, really. We did one bigger combination session where I did the subcision really extensively. I did talar liberator subcision for this patient. I did a ablative CO2 laser for this patient. I did TCA Cross. Through the laser channel holes, in her case, I put a dilute form of Radiesse for her. And then we subsequently did some more Radiesse. We did some more Bellafill for her. And then we also worked a lot on her pigmentation as well. D is saying, I did a consultation with you about a year ago. Will I have to do one again? I have to double check what our team says, but I think usually the quotes only last you about 30 days or so. And maybe things have changed, I'm not sure, but the quote's only for about 30 days. So if we do a consultation, we really should be booking within that time. Prices can change, as like I was mentioning earlier. Our consultation fee is going to be going up next year. So just so you're aware, about those changes that are going to be coming. But it's not going to be crazy or anything like that. But just it's going to help out with our time and making sure that we're able to accommodate all the patients that we need to be able to be seen on time in a timely manner. I think it'll really help out with that. Let's see here. Law of Trends is saying that for textured acne scars, can they do it with safe during pregnancy? Is that what you're asking, pregnancy or breastfeeding? I'm still a little bit confused what you're asking with that. But typically you wouldn't want to do it during pregnancy at all. But breastfeeding, it depends. I'm not going to be, as long as we're not doing like neurotoxins, probably will be okay. Certain things may go in there though, so we have to probably talk about that and have a discussion about what products we could do that we could feel comfortable with that. User 19 saying, would I have to have my acne in control before making a consultation? Well, I could definitely help you with your acne, but I'm probably not going to do scar treatments until your acne is under control. I try to get things done at a very, very high level every single day, and there's a way to do that. So I will help you with that. At some point, let's talk, and I can either help you with your acne or we'll help you with your scars when you're ready for that. O'Trubber is saying, I'm Robert, multiple treatments with poor results in San Diego. I logged them and handed you a paper with them during my initial consultation. I do remember that. I'm so glad, actually. I'm so glad that you had great results, actually. Robert, if I could, I'll tell you, you had a whole sheet of the different treatments that you did. And you did a lot of treatments. You did a lot of really, really good treatments, actually, and didn't find much improvement. So I'm really, really happy to feel like I'm so glad to see you back on here right now. And I was actually thinking about you the other day because there was another patient that actually was it yesterday or 2 days ago, and they did 7 subcision sessions, and I was thinking actually about you it's sad, it's like they did 7 subcision and CO2 laser, and like they did try to do things like the right way. They saw that they had rolling scars and tried to do things, And I went in there and there was so much scar tissue still. It was almost like they had not done a single subcision session. The patient today who came in from Australia, he went to an Australian physician over there, also went to somebody over that travels around and was over in Dubai, usually is in the Hollywood area, went over to Dubai over there, and it's found that he wasn't getting enough improvement. And it was like there was so much scar tissue, so much tether bonds over there. And then also the skin was so thick, it was like so thick that we really had to go in there and use an ablative form of the CO2 laser. Yeah, Robert, I hope, I don't remember if we've had a follow-up in the office, but at some point if we could, it'd be really nice, and we could do we'll essentially do the before and afters. And if you let me share your photos of just the scars, that'll be really nice. Why would that happen? 7 sessions of Subcision didn't help much. Well, it's because they didn't know what they're doing. That's what it comes down to. I hate to say it, but like, it's just, there's a way to do this. There really is. And, I can understand a couple times, 2-3 times of certain things that you do, but like 7 of the same thing over and over and over again of Subcision. And then I go in there and there's so much scar tissue that's still in there. It's just obvious that the person that did it didn't know what they're doing. And as soon as I went in there for the patient, he's just like, this is so different than what anybody else that did it. This is so different from what happened before. So different. And it's like, he's like hearing all the crunches, all the scar tissue. He's like, yeah, the guy did it, I think was really superficial, hardly did anything. Robert saying, I did, but I think the scars improve remarkably after the 3 to 4 month mark. So new shots would be best in my opinion. I really appreciate you, Robert. That'll be really nice if we could. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way. It'd be really awesome if we could share that then at some point. So if you could reach out to us, or maybe we could message a little bit there and see if we could get that. Because it's always good, I know a lot of people, so I have a lot of patients in San Diego area, in the Bay Area, and I don't necessarily see them as much, so it's like, it'll be nice to kind of follow along and kind of see the journey. Sometimes, we may run into each other or something like that, but I'm not able to get a photo there. Occasionally I run into patients at the park and things like that in my area, and I haven't seen them again because they're happy in life. Everything's good. The scars look really good. But also, it's nice just to, for us to kind of keep tabs and making sure that what I'm doing is like the best possible treatment for people. And that way I get good feedback of like, okay, this is like, your pigmentation is really good. Everything's really good. And we can make sure that, it's going to continue to get better and better for you. And sometimes it's just a matter of like, switching it over to potentially like tretinoin or things like that, just to continue that collagen response there. What treatments continue to cause improvements 4 months later? Well, almost anything that's stimulating collagen production is going to be better and better over time. And it's so confusing for people. There's so many people out there that will show you, there's professionals that will show you today, right now, they'll show you results just like 1 week later. And it's like, of course I'm going to get an amazing result 1 week later. And my results are amazing 1 week later. And if I just did hyaluronic acid filler, there's some people out there that just do so much hyaluronic acid filler there, and they put so much filler in people, and it looks great because they put so much HA filler in there. But it goes away. It's like, especially for like deep, thick scars. And if you didn't do proper subcision, it could maybe cause like what's called a donut effect, where the filler goes around the scar tissue, and it doesn't look great. So it's like, you could do that for just a little bit of time, and you're probably just getting like temporary effects. This patient, the years and years later, her skin looks better and better. My own face, I did a laser not this February, but last February, and I found my skin was better this last few weeks, actually, better than ever. Really, it was like better than ever in my mind these last few weeks, which is amazing. Which is so cool for me, that like it is so confusing for people. Like I was pretty happy about, actually for the first probably 6 months, I thought it was pretty mild for myself. I thought it was good, but like, it felt softer, but I could still see scars. And then I felt like, a year later it was better, and a year and a half later it was better. So it takes a while. I did do a few things though. I did do a little bit more of an erbium laser just to resurface a little bit. I also did some Bellafill, which helped out a lot too. So you do a couple small tweaks still. It's not just that process, but there's no question that it continued to get better for my skin quality. My skin just feels a lot more firm too, which is really, really nice to have. So it is a slower process with that collagen response than anybody ever tells you. I think that the people that show results just a week out really do a disservice for the scar community, and it's unsustainable, because they're not showing realistic possible results that you could get. You know, this particular patient, this is an amazing, phenomenal result after a lot of work that we had to do with this. But there's other people that, you know, this patient was more the other patient below hers. This is still a work in progress here. You know, I think the other patient was pretty much complete. This is a work in progress still. We're still going to do, you can still see a little bit of the ice pick scars. You could still see, you know, of course, a little bit of pigmentation, like a little bit of redness as well. But so it's still a work in progress. We're not like completely there yet, but we're pretty close. Like we're pretty close to it. I would say probably in another year, we're going to be pretty good with this, like very, very close. It'll be pretty close to the other previous patient, which is amazing. You know, so it's a journey. You know, it's like this is where we are now. You know, it's about 5 months out, a little bit more than 5 months. I would say 5.5 months out. This is where we are right now, and we'll get better and better. But she did do some TCA Cross here. We did do more TCA Cross after we did the fuller combination session there. Robert says, if what happened to me happens to you, you'll be very happy, Yellow. Yes, that's the thing. I appreciate you so much, Yellow, Robert, for saying that, because it's really nice for patients to hear from other people too. You know, just like what the process is sometimes and what happens. I really appreciate you kind of giving back to people and letting them know what that journey and that process could be for you and for other people. And so they could feel like there's just more hope in life. You know, it's just like sometimes it just feels like, you know, you hit a plateau, it doesn't work, but it's not quite what you think. It's like it does get softer over time, and maybe we have to do a couple other things just to trigger it a little bit more. And everybody's collagen response is different, because maybe if they're a smoker before, they have sun exposure, things like that. But if we could get there ultimately still, you know, it's awesome. And just with patience, you know, just the slowly small little tweaks here and there. That's what we have to do. Hassan Sakib is saying, does topical 5% minoxidil help with thicker hair? It'll help a little bit. You know, I find it's okay. It doesn't help me too much. I thought the oral minoxidil will help better, though, to be honest with you. That's kind of what I ended up preferring, actually. And PRP. PRP worked out really, really well. All right, guys, appreciate you so much. I don't know why the social media platforms kind of limited me today. They didn't actually push me out too much, actually, to me today. So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe because we showed something with Subcision or something like that. I'm not sure. We try not to show it on our platforms because of that, but maybe, you know, at some point we'll show it just on platforms that let us. But sometimes, anytime we show Subcision, they kind of make it so it's more limited for the video. So if you have something that you're looking at, remember that we're on multiple different platforms. So if you feel like it's not visible on one platform, if you're kind of curious about it, you can see in others. We may show you more depth and like kind of go through the process. We have a really, really great video that's on YouTube, actually. That shows like step by step how we did scars, and we'll show the patient that came in from Australia. We'll show his step by step process at some point too. Really cool. You can just see like an hour of me just doing this laser, just like each individual scar. It takes a long time. It's really cool. I don't know anybody else that does that. Actually, I had a bunch of people that were still asking questions. Let me hit a few things. Maha is saying, are you coming to Dubai anytime soon? Nothing planned right now. You know, I'm so busy at my practice right now, but it's on my radar. I know a lot of people were asking about it. I'll double check to see if it was possible, but sooner. But right now, nothing just up yet. Charlotte is saying, where did she do elliptical excision? This wasn't an elliptical excision. At least I don't believe so. This was with TCA Cross, and this was with the Accure laser to help with her oil production. And then we did a ablative CO2 laser, as well as fractionated erbium laser. Jim C is saying, I just joined, but can you share why your skin becomes like the first picture? This is acne, and then some patients just have a genetic predisposition to scarring. So that ends up happening like that. For incisions on the ear, can you treat scars there? Yes, I could. Yeah, I do a lot of that. Are you talking about from a facelift? Yes, I definitely could. Magic the Show is saying, I have the face exactly the same and want to know the best option. Schedule a consultation. We'll be happy to help you. I do virtual consultations, so feel free to schedule that actually with us just directly on my page, drqazi.com. We'll help you out with that. You can just check out just directly there. Almost all of our prices are on there. Just a couple things that just like for excisions and things like that aren't on there, but really in general, all of our other prices are there, and you could take a look and see and hopefully that'll help you out. You know, we'll be able to help you. Stay tuned, by the way. It's not for scars. I'll tell you that right now. We're not doing things for scars, but on Black Friday, we will do some things, so stay tuned. So you'll see some things for certain secret deals that'll pop up there. So hopefully you guys joined our email. So go to drqazi.com. Hopefully you join the email because you may get like early access for certain things. Also, our members get like an extra percentage of discounts that day. So feel free to go on our page and double check that. You can be able to see that right there. And hopefully that'll help you out with everything. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much. I will see you again tomorrow night. Thank you.